give a solid description, but not give too much. Okay, so you don't want to say, I'm running this site and this is my session plan and this is exactly what I want to do, these are my headings and I want you to take all this and go and run. No, don't do that. Why wouldn't you do that? Does anyone want to take a guess? Exactly, there's actually people that go on these sites and search for ideas to steal with the intention of stealing them. Okay, it's kind of a black strategy, but it's legal. And you know, I admit from time to time I have surfed to see what's up there, see what's happening, because all these gurus post their projects on there, all right? But they're very smart with how they actually deliver it, all right? So you want to give enough to tweak the interest and give them an idea of what you require, but you don't want to tell them exactly everything that's involved. State your long-term opportunities. I like to say in my projects that if I'm looking for a writer to write 12 months worth of e-classes, then I'll say that. I'm looking for a long-term writer. Because these coders, they live from day to day and they bid on these projects. One project, you know, they might bid on 10 projects. They get one, they get paid 20 bucks or whatever it is, it tides them over, and then they'll bid on another 10 to get one, okay? And it's a really hard life for these guys. I feel for them. But if they know that they're going to get 12 months worth of e-classes, okay, then they might put in a pretty low bid initially because they know that if they've got the relationship with you and they can deliver, then you're able to give them work for 12 months, okay? So I found that very effective in getting at least a good initial low bid price. Communication avenues. I like to personally communicate with people I work with via Skype and chat, so I like to talk to them personally. Email's good, but and I know Andrew for a fact as well, he tells me that he prefers talking to people and having someone there in person rather than continuous back and forth on the email. But you need to make sure that your coder is open to that, okay? Because if a code is open just to email and you're in completely different time periods and you're on a really strict schedule, like, you know, your e-class is due the next day and you've got 50 people waiting for it, and there's a 12-hour delay between you typing and them typing, it could come back to bite you, okay? And their availability, you've got to make sure that they can deliver on time whenever you need them to deliver. So if you've set a date with one of your buddies in here, or you've set a date with Andrew and Daryl, and you need your graphics done by the end of the month, you need to tell them that, okay? Because these guys, they tend to have a lot of other projects in and they need to prioritise. So you sort of tell them don't bid if you're unable to do that, okay? There's one other thing I want to tell you as well. Yep. One other thing before I move on is Mike feels same. He says basically what he found when he puts projects on is that he'll get a lot of template bids. So all these companies, they just bid on every single project without actually having read what you've required. And then once they've accepted the project, you find out that they can't actually do it. Okay, but they've just bid on it because they know it's a numbers game. They know that if they bid on 10, one will accept, you know, their bid, and then some of them they can do, some of them they can't. If they can't, it's no loss to them, but it is a loss to you because you've lost time. So how he gets around that is he puts a secret code in his listings. Okay, so whatever the code is, it might be a number or a series of letters or whatever it is, and in the reply you say, please reply in the subject line with this code or else your application will not be read. And that's something I thought I'd share because it is important. You don't want to waste time on there. Don't buy solely on price, okay? You'll get bids, like for example, for the e-class, most recent e-class I put up, I got bids ranging from $15 up to $25,000, okay? Actually, the guy that bid, I think it was $25,000. Yeah, the guy that bid $25,000, he was an ex-writer from Mad magazine. Okay, it's one of the magazines I used to read when I was a kid. Obviously, he still thinks he's got the goods, but obviously I didn't choose him because that's not going to be very cost-effective to pay $25,000 to get one e-class written. But you'll find that there's a good range of prices that come in. When you buy on eBay, you always look at the seller's feedback. Okay, you look at the kind of things that they're selling, you look at their store, you look at their About Me page. I tend to sometimes contact past buyers. You just do your own due diligence, okay? And it's no different to eBay in that aspect. On these sites, you need to do the due diligence on anyone you're potentially looking at working with, okay? So use the feedback, look at their past projects, contact their past referees, do all that stuff. If you've got to be working with them on a long-term basis, it's all about minimising your risk. Look for personal bids. I like to take the guys who work in IT but like to do this in their spare time. Also students, guys who are really tech savvy and just want a couple of extra bucks on the side. They're my favourites because they're online 24 hours a day. They never sleep. They're just always doing techie stuff. So whenever you need them, you want someone to be there online, right? I mean, Alex is a great help for these guys, but not everyone here can get access to a real Alex, but you could get access to a virtual Alex, okay? And they're ready to talk to you on Skype, ready to chat with you for whatever it is that you want them to do. And I like to, basically, to prevent that template bit, I like to have 2 to 3 just back and forth, just to clarify the project and then get them to email me. I notice the time it takes for them to email me back, because that's very important, promptness. And I also take notice of the personability and their English. If they're going to write for you, I'd prefer them to have a good command of English. So these are some of the sites that I use, and sorry about the blue there, it didn't come out very well, but if you haven't heard about them, please write them down. Okay, they're the sites I use and a lot of the guys use. elance.com, elance.com. I've just popped these up here. There's some debate on the validity of these ratings, but when I was putting the presentation together, I thought it might be interesting. Alexa basically is a traffic rank. Really quickly, it's run by Alexa, and that's why there's a bit of debate. You need the toolbar for it to count, but one is obviously, according to Alexa, the highest visited website online, all the way up to your millions, 100 million. So it goes Yahoo's number 1, then Google, MSN, YouTube. You've got Windows Live, MySpace, Facebook, Wikipedia, Orkut, and High Five are your top 10 out of interest. I thought that was very interesting. Thank you. So if you're in the top 20,000, you're doing pretty well. Think about how many billions of websites are online, okay? Elance is 1,351. How many people are using that site? It's unbelievable. By the way, PageRank is Google's rank of how important a page is. Again, there's been a bit of debate and people are taking less notice of that these days. But 10 is hugely important, and 0 is, go somewhere else for not visiting this website. But Scriptlance is mainly for programs and scripters and coders. They kind of have a specialty in that area. Guru.com is kind of a general site. Yep.
Can you read out the address?
Yeah, sure. Scriptlance is www.scriptlance.com, all one word. Guru is guru.com, Guru.com. And Rentacoder is rentacoder.com. And I've just put VA for you down the bottom because I read a book recently called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And has anyone read that book? No, it's an awesome book. It talks about getting a virtual assistant, okay? So it talks about getting someone online to actually organise all this for you and do it all for you. So you can spend your time, like me, playing golf and going to the gym and doing other stuff while your site's turning over and making money. Okay, but you're still working hard. You're just working smart, right? But obviously, it's a growth industry, and sites like this are popping up all around. But it's a very interesting concept, and I encourage you to get that book if you're interested in learning more. Tim Ferriss, TIMFERRISS, I believe. Now, Yaro, who's coming in tomorrow, talk about blogging. He's actually interviewed Tim, okay, and it's a free interview as well. You can get it on Yaro's blog. He'll talk about it tomorrow, I'm sure. Final pointers to save money. Don't post projects if you don't have any intention of following through. I sort of fell into this trap when I first started. The reason being is when you post a project, you get some awesome feedback. You will post a project and all these coders will come in, oh, you should do this and you should do this and you could do this, or why don't you think about doing it this way? That way I can help you. And you just get a flood of free information, right, from coders, but you don't actually pay anything, and those sites don't make any money. So if you don't follow through on a project, you get a thing called a non-action ratio, and if you get too many, they boot you off. So I value my membership on those sites, so I try not to post without the intention of following through. So always have the intention of following through, okay? It might be that if your project doesn't come through, and you have to cancel it, fine, okay? But don't do it for the sake of it. Already talked about posting all the details, so don't do that. New coders, I find that people who are just getting onto these sites that I've talked about, a lot of them, they want to get their feedback up. It's like on eBay, right? When you want to get on eBay, you just want your feedback up. I hate being at 0, 1, 2, 3, come on, when's it going to go up? So what they do is they bid very low on a lot of projects. They come in with a whole heap of credentials, and you're wondering, hang on, why is this person bidding so low? And you find out that they're new and they want to get their feedback up. So make sure that you take a look at their background, and as I said, you can freely converse with them through the interface. And you might want to ask them, how come you're bidding so low if you're so good? And if they say, because I want to get my feedback up, that's a good thing, okay? Lower developed countries are gold. For me, it's India and Romania. Okay, two of they've got awesome coders, unbelievable coders. They just can do almost anything online that you can think of. It can be done. Think of a software program, if you want a script written, if you want something to happen on your website, on your web page, you know, it really amazes me. I put a project on for a really basic project probably about 2 weeks ago now, and I got about 150 bids. That's how badly people want your business. They just want it so badly, and they'll just keep undercutting each other until, you know, question.
How do you go in India and Romania with the command of the English language?
Okay, well, you obviously won't get an Indian person. Sorry, the question was, how do you, sorry, can you repeat? It's probably best if you do it.
How do you, with India and Romania, how do you cope with the command of the English language from the people who are dealing with you?
Well, it depends on the task you're outsourcing, okay? So if you're looking for just a technical task, then I don't care if their English is bad, okay, as long as they can produce. Because remember, you don't pay them until they deliver, okay? That's another thing. How many organisations that can you come across in the real world that have that concept? So the way it works is you put your money in escrow, which means you have the intention of paying, but you don't actually pay them until you're happy with the work. Okay? But to answer your question, for getting someone to write your e-classes, I would look outside of India and Romania unless they have had experience or training in English. Okay? For anything technical, though, definitely look at the lower developed countries for technical. Probably the US and the UK for writing tasks. Another good thing that I've got from listening to one of Daryl's audios is if you actually cut a task up into two, so if you have an e-class you want written on quite a complex topic, okay, you put a project on for a low developed country to research and come up with the actual base of it. So countries like Asia and Romania, they'll actually have some good academics who aren't necessarily awesome in English, but they can put together a really good outline, research it really well, back it up, and gives you everything you need. And then you put another project to say, okay, I want someone who's really good in English to make this look good. Okay? And the cumulative total of that will tend to be less than if you got someone who's really good and charges a high price to do the whole thing. Okay? I've got 5 minutes, so we've got a motor on. Are you getting something out of this? Yeah? Fantastic, great. All right, I'm going to take you through really quickly what I did to do my first e-class. I went to Andrew's house, I knocked on his door. No, I didn't. He invited me over, okay? We sat down with some microphones on, pressed record, and I just had a chat to him, a man-to-man chat about comfort zone, I believe it was. So we talked about getting out of your comfort zone, okay? Recorded it. Andrew put it online. I went onto one of the sites and I said, I want a 800-word to 1,500-word e-class based on this 5 to 10-minute recording, okay? That's all I did. So it took me, by the way, it takes me from between 2 and 6 hours to write an e-class on my own from concept to finish, going through the draft. 2 and 6 hours. That's a lot of time, okay? It took me 10 minutes to write that proposal. It took me 5 minutes to interview Andrew. Once I posted it on, he did a draft. I didn't like it. I spent 10 minutes reviewing, telling him what I wanted. He did another draft. I was happy with that one. And, you know, an hour later, an hour from when we were conversing, we actually had